Straight talk for faculty? Blogs. What's the point of blogging? Blogging is all about broadcasting. Blogs are about putting thoughts and ideas and experiences and reflections out there for other people to see. It can be used as a way to gather comments and build community, but that's not really the point. Primarily, a blog is push media. One person has something to say, and they put it out there for the rest of the world to read. So how do they best serve learning? Well, here's the thing. Blogs encourage higher level thinking because the person doing the writing is creating something authentic. That changes the experience for the learner from doing something that your teacher's going to read or maybe you'll share with a classmate to something legitimately out there for anyone and everyone on the World Wide Web. It puts you in a position of recognizing that you need to be very careful with what it is you actually say. Because the individual student is the one in charge of his or her blog, they recognize that they are solely responsible for the content, the phrasing, the language that they choose, and the message that they put out there. We have this brilliant tool for taking reflection out of the realm of, yeah, it's what we do in school, to something real, because it is truly being shared. When we use blogs as an ongoing assignment, they become a living artifact for growth in thought, in change, and in ability. When we have the students share their blogs with each other, read each other's, maybe comment on each other's, they get to see how their peers are experiencing the same things they are. And for adult learners, this ability to truly see active, engaged reflection through the eyes of someone who they know, who they can relate to, who they understand is having a parallel experience, yet seeing it slightly or very differently, it takes on a whole new meaning and it helps adults break out of that box of, well, this is what I've experienced, so this is what it is, and it helps open up the world. There are issue-oriented blogs, such as EduWonk. I actually go to this one quite often. I like this blog, and you see, she has an amazing list of other educational blogs that you can read as well. But yes, this is one individual involved in education sharing the things that she sees. And we have opinion-based blogs. This one is published through the New York Times, but it's actually all about the gentleman that wrote Freakonomics, and he takes a look at different economic issues of the day through his own paradigm. So it's his opinion on what's going on in the world. There are more reflective type blogs. This one that I'm showing you was actually done by one of my students for my 515 course. I did offer guiding topics week after week, but it gave the student the opportunity to truly recognize all that she was doing week after week, to take that time to sit back and look at what she was doing and have that experience of recognizing, I do think differently about that now than I did, or I didn't make that connection until I'd experienced or heard someone else say or read about or saw blah blah blah. Active, engaged reflection is not something that comes naturally to most people. They need a reason. It's like taking a class on meditation. On one hand, you sit in a room, you go, you close your eyes and you stop thinking for a minute. Yet, how many of us actually take the time to do that? Having your students write a reflective blog puts them in a position of having to block out the time to sit back and really think about what they've been experiencing. There are specifically educational and informative blogs. This one, the Service Learning blog, I actually send quite a few people here who are interested in National Service Learning or Teach for America. This blog continually is full of very cool information, links to different partnerships and programs that are going on. It's run by several different people who are all working in partnership. Really, really cool resource. How often should your students be blogging? Well, again, it depends on why you've got them doing it in the first place. Are you doing it weekly to try and track changes in thought or ability as some kind of artifact throughout a process? Perhaps you're only doing it once every other week so that it's centered around specific events. Maybe certain things you're reading in class or certain things you have the students doing. So it makes sense that they would leapfrog a week and not do it every single week. Some people have students create a blog and then just blog whenever they feel like it. This can be kind of dangerous. You get two things. You get the student who starts really, really strong and does 4, 5, 6 a week, posts on all kinds of things, and then peters out at the end. Or you get somebody who just completely blows it off and then at the end tries to put in 50 blogs to make up for not doing anything throughout the term. If you're going to do a whenever the mood strikes kind of blog, you have to be very specific with what the intent is and how often you expect the students to be posting. How do we assess this work? It's all about being clear with your expectations, be it a rubric or just very specific guidelines. You don't always have to grade a blog, but you do have to give feedback. This could be in a blended course where maybe you pull up 1 or 2 blogs a week and show them in class and everybody discusses, or you literally will go through and comment individually on your students' blogs. Having students read and comment on their peers' blogs is wonderful. And again, for adult learners, it is often more valuable for both reader and poster than any kind of grade you could give because it changes their paradigm of their own experience. Reading how another is viewing the same thing they are, and then having that discussion. Wow, I didn't see it that way, or when I heard that, I had a completely different thought. So some final thoughts on blogging. Don't overprogram. If you guide the blog, as I did in the example I showed you, what I did for 515, where every week in my blog I would say the topic for this week is, they were open topics. It wasn't as if there was a question for the students to answer. It was a general kind of musing and asking them then to take that and reflect upon it in relation to what we were doing in the class and what they were experiencing for themselves. Please, don't try to do one blog for everybody to comment on or post. It gets messy. Now, I know there are some schools and some specific programs that do this kind of group running blog. It tends to work better when you're doing a research project or there is something very linear that everyone in the group is working on. And if you do guide through topics, be consistent with when you share that information. If there's going to be a weekly topic, it needs to be available to the students whenever your week begins, whether that's on Monday or Sunday night. You need to be sure that information is there. And the one last thing I want to share with you is there is a blogging/journaling tool available in Blackboard. I myself am not that familiar with it. I tend to feel, and again, it's up to each individual, but I tend to feel that by using a real blog, such as wordpress.com, which is where I kept my blog for 515, and you can see, as I mentioned, each week I posted what the topics were for the students to think about. One of the reasons I feel strongly about using outside blogs, not the one in Blackboard, is because our students are in the world of education. They don't have a lot of money and resources. So the more we can get them comfortable and confident using free tools that they can use out in the classroom, whether it's for their students, with their students, or the parents of their students. I know many former students of mine who keep blogs going as a way to let the parents know what's actually going on in the classroom. But the more we can give our students real tools that they can carry out and use in the real world, the more we're enabling them to be better professionals, better 21st century professionals. Now, with these kinds of blogs, whether it's Blogger or WordPress, you can make them private. If the focus of the blogging in your course tends to be personal, or the students want to write about things that they don't want out in the real world, they can change the security settings so that only people whose emails they lock in there, such as mine or yours, can get in to see the blog.